So, game 2. So, again, we've seen RNG on blue side. Again, they've picked up the Xin Zhao first pick. This is fine. Oh, but no. Look what has come back and reared its head. The first pick, Renekton. I just don't get it. I just don't get it. They're completely griefing. They could have just taken either Trundle or Volibear here. Trundle's a double flex for them because it's good into Xin Zhao too. And then they just take the Ziggs as well. There is absolutely no reason to take the Renekton here. And they're going to get very punished in draft for this. So they've taken the Syndra here. That's kind of blind because the Ziggs is going to be bot lane. So I don't really like that they blind picked them mid right now, but maybe they're afraid of it getting banned away, especially since quite a few mids banned. So they have picked up the Trundle now. This is good because, like I said, Trundle is also a very good matchup into the Xin. And what they can do here is in this point here, they can go volley again. And then they can decide, are they going to send the Volibear top and the Trundle jungle, or are they going to just pick something kind of a little bit more supportive there, like say for example if they don't take the Leona, which I mean they have been doing, maybe they look to go something else. Maybe they look to go the Leona and send the Trundle jungle. So they managed to get Viego. This came very late in the draft and is going to be a Viego top lane. They've got a Lee Sin jungle though. And they've actually taken the set support this time. He's going to provide a lot of space anyway, but you know, he's quite good into the Lee Sin, because if Lee Sin uses his Q and then reactivates it for his Q2 and set ease him before he actually manages to touch him, then the damage from the Lee Sin Q won't actually go through. Now this is quite important as well, because when it comes to objectives, Lee Sin does have a massive amount of burst power, especially getting those objectives low and just finishing them off. But the flip side to that is that his Q can be cancelled, so that would mean that he doesn't have enough damage with his smite and he'll get outsmited if the set manages to play it properly. So this pick was actually very good here. Leona can't really do it anywhere near as much because she has to be in auto attack range to use her Q, whereas Set has this kind of much kind of wider sort of point where he can kind of do it to those. So they actually took the Jax top and they're putting the Renekton mid. So they're taking Renekton mid into the Syndra, which it seems like a crazy thing to do to me. Obviously the Jax is taken so that AL can try and have a little bit more agency in this lane, and it doesn't really go like the first game. But I think putting Renekton mid here is just kind of bad. I mean, they do have a Ziggs for AP, so they're not going to lose damage, but the Renekton's never really going to be able to get on top of the Syndra in this matchup. So she's just going to be able to farm quite safely, and she's never really going to get pressured if she plays it properly, and if she just makes sure that she doesn't really walk too close to them at all, which can be an issue. But so they're looking to get some division. They managed to get a Raptor Ward. Lee Sin does know that's there now, but he can't take Sweeper at level 1 like other junglers can. He's going to solo start the red buff, which means they're leaving Ale alone because, you know, Ziggs will get quite easy prio bot lane due to the fact that he Ziggs. But the Xin Zhao again starting top. I like to see this. Like I said, the focus is going to be on this bot lane, especially punishing the Ziggs. If RNG can open up tier 2 towers this game, then the Ziggs can never farm safely. So that's kind of what they're looking for. So they're just looking for this early game pressure. Now Tarzan is on Lee Sin, and Tarzan is very talented though, so I wouldn't be surprised if he does pop off this game, but we'll see. So Xin Zhao took blue Grump. He's going to go for Wolves again, which I really just don't like. It's not as bad this game though, purely because, you know, they're not getting hard pressured bot lane right now. So he does have a little bit more time to clear, which is okay. So they managed to get a level 2 spike and do a ton of damage. Unfortunately, they didn't manage to kill, and they did commit the Ignite to that. Now, the reason why committing the Ignite is bad there is because Trundle, especially when he gets his W, well, it depends. I think he'll go his W level 2, just because he needs the healing, because it increases his healing from all sources, and when minions die around him, he also gets healing back from that. So that gets increased, and it means that he can basically pop his W down now, and you know, the entire wave will just heal him up. So that's kind of one of the advantages to Trundle support. Now they did get spotted on this ward walking into the jungle. They popped the Scry's Bloom. And they're looking to try and invade this Lee Sin right here. I mean, if the Xin does find Lee Sin, he can just basically 100-0 him. But Tarzan manages to get it, smite it away. And now he's also going to walk into this top side just to get that top Skull Crab. So, unfortunately, his Skull Crab is going to be way slow here because he had to use his smite to secure those walls. But as we can see, this mid lane matchup is completely unplayable for the Renekton. Like, I don't know what they decided to. Xin Zhao is kind of running about. Lee Sin might actually get this kill because of the way that the Xin Zhao was pathed. Yeah, so Cryan's dead because Xin pathed all the way around the back of the towers for some reason. I don't have a clue what he's doing there. But Ming might actually be there in time to save Cryan. No, Lee Sin manages to get first blood, and the Renekton does die. Viego gets resets, and now we can go on them. They're going to just completely wipe this team. So, yeah. Okay, so they don't get more because the Jax is on his way. He flashed Eid so that he managed to get a stun on this Varus. Okay, another TP coming in, but RNG are they're playing a really tight team fight, and this is very good because, you know, they've got Syndra, they've got Varus, and they've got Set that can just kind of grab hold of those kind of entrance points and just go crazy. I did actually get slightly confused there for a second because the Viego showed us Jax at the top, and I was like, wait, but I always forget. So this is pretty. I mean, that was. I don't know. Nobody really got much out of that. I mean, they did get first blood on the Lee Sin, which is huge. It's going to allow him to snowball quite a lot. And the Viego did get both of the kills too, which, to be honest, is actually pretty big due to the fact that now, once he gets level 6, he can basically just 100-0 potentially due to the fact that he has an execute on his ultimate. So he's okay. So he didn't manage to clear that ward away. That's kind of like a good roaming ward. If he walks back and roams now, he's going to see that he's roaming based on that ward, and he's also going to see if he gets in the bushes, gets by his tower. So it actually gives quite a lot of information, even though it does seem like a very like obscure kind of ward. Now, the Jax just uses E, so Viego can actually look to be a bit more aggressive here. Now, there is a big slow push, but Zen is nowhere to be seen. So, again, I feel like the jungler like really doesn't play around slow pushes anywhere near as much as he should. So, okay, so the Viego is just kind of going nuts. If the Jax doesn't actually have his E up, then Viego can actually do a lot of damage to him in the trade, so that's always something to consider. Wei is walking up, but that is warded, so it will spot him if he walks out, so good decision that he didn't. I'm wondering if Xiaohu actually called that was warded or not, but Jax can take a short trade and then jump out with Q anyway. They are potentially looking for Tarzan here. I don't think... So they don't know he's there, but... So Jax is going in. Xin Zhao's following up as well. If they get... Oh, nice sidestep by AL actually. That actually stopped him dying very much so, because if Jin would have landed that... sorry, if Xin would have landed that, he would have W'd and then E directly on top, and he would have just done so much there. So now, if I was Xin Zhao, what I'd be looking to do is walk down, help the Syndra crash the wave, and just instantly go for the dragon. Because the Ziggs and the Trundle are giving off... they're playing very defensively because they don't want to walk up to the wave since they know Lee Sin is top lane. So, okay. Okay, so they do walk up to the wave, never mind. So they were playing it so well until they walked up there. Unfortunately, the Ignite just wasn't enough to kill the Trundle again. But they've got so much pressure for the dragon right now and they're not going for it. They're not using any pressure in lanes. So that kind of shows to me that they're not looking to win through objectives. They're just looking to win through just skirmishes, which is just bad because this ends up happening. Like, there's no reason for them to be in that top side of the map right there. They might lose the blue buff, but the set just managed to force the Trundle to reset, and they're not playing around this bot lane whatsoever, and this is so sad to see. Okay. So now we get replay in. So negative. Right then. So we see another skirmish for Herald. I feel like these games are literally just fight after fight after fight, skirmish after skirmish after skirmish. Which is China for you, but this is to a very extreme point, to the fact that they're ignoring chances to get ahead, and now LNG just gets the dragon, which shouldn't have happened. Especially considering it's an infernal. Like, yes, okay, you could get cloud spawn, but that doesn't really matter too much. I mean, it is an ocean on the next one in 5 minutes, 4 minutes 48. So they're not going to get an infernal or an ocean soul, but they can still get a mountain. So if anything for RNG, this kind of dragon situation is looking very good for them right now, because LNG has spent the time and the pressure to get that infernal. And if I was them, I'd also allow them to get the ocean, but try and get enough gold elsewhere that they can then stack 4 mountains. If they can stack 4 mountains, then great. Otherwise, they can just use the dragon timer coming up as a way to force a fight. So Xiaohu going in for a fight, waited way too long to actually go on that. Does manage to kill him, but it's really not too good. Now Ming with a really good rotation, but it doesn't really matter because he just eats straight out. We do see Tarzan and Wandy walking up into the top lane to potentially try and punish this Xin Zhao. So Xin Zhao is actually just pushing the wave out, so he's not going to be able to do that much. But what they should be looking for now is to just run straight into bot lane, because Varus is trying to hard force this wave in right now solo, because they know that Set is in mid lane. Set does manage to get a really nice flash E into the ult though on the Renekton, and he just gets instantly deleted. So right now, like, the Lee Sin has found to kind of get topside, but this Varus is hard pressuring the Ziggs in bot lane. So I really think that Lee should have just looked to ignore those top camps and just go straight into bot lane and try and punish this Varus for how far up he is. Obviously he does have control wards in both those bushes and he's very safe, but Lee Sin does have a massive amount of reach, so we can get on him very easy. Now the fact that Lee Sin has just shown on this ward top means that the Xin Zhao can just look to potentially dive now, especially when the set is back in lane, and especially considering they have 3 TPs right now. So at any point they can just force a 4v1-2 whenever they feel like it. So that's something to be very careful of, and we're going to see that come into effect, I think, in these next 5 to 10 minutes of the game, where they're just going to potentially look to drop all 3 TPs on somebody and just instantly punish them and then get objectives off it. So I think that's going to probably be what they look to do. Ale is getting to a point now where he can do a massive amount of damage to Xiaohu though, and this is obviously because he's playing the Jax into the Viego and he got to counter it. Now Viego is a very much auto attack based champion, with his Q also giving him 2 autos basically every time he uses it on somebody, so it is very rough. Now this is a very good thing about this Trundle Ziggs combo though, because Ziggs can drop his minefield down and then Trundle can also pillar, and they end up with so much terrain control that it's very hard to actually walk up to them. Now they are going to just quickly get this off. They don't have a Herald to get it. Ale is also pushing top. Ale might actually... Oh, they do have Herald, sorry, and they dropped it. If they didn't have Herald there, Ale might actually have been able to get that first tower top lane, purely for the fact that there is 3 people in bot right now, and every time... like, based on how many people are around the tower, it gets more resistances when the plates drop. So... if it wasn't for that Herald, I actually think Ale could have potentially got that dragon first, actually. But he doesn't, so... So now Ale manages to get that tower, which he gets that gold all to himself, which is pretty good for him as well. And now they're just really looking for a pick. So they've dropped a TP here. Xiaohu got picked. Now Syndra just managed to instantly E away, and this is why I said this Renekton pick in mid lane is complete grief. Like, I don't know why. When Icon has been performing very well on like mages, why would you ever put him on Renekton to try and get draft resources for Ale? Like, it doesn't make sense when Ale has been the worst performing member of their team by far so far in playoffs. So it's really just not worth it. Right, so we see a replay here. As we can see, Syndra manages to force him away to stop him getting on top. And then the Viego just comes in and they just one-shot him. So this is what I mean. This Renekton is just really bad. And this entire LNG roster just seems to love Renekton. I don't know if it's the players or the coaches, but they just seem to love Renekton to the point that they want to completely grief their draft every single game for this Renekton. So they are looking for a flank on Gala now. Lee Sin does have the ability to... There we go. So he ward hops and then ults into the queue so that he gets out. So Wei jumps on Tarzan, but I'm not sure he's got enough damage to actually kill him. Ale gets ulted by the Syndra as well, but there's not enough. Wandy out of position again. I don't know why he's splitting from the team this much. Pops Azonia's. Ziggs bombs are going to come in, but it doesn't matter. Viego kills him off. Now the Renekton is looking to jump in. Syndra's going to just E him away though. Yep, perfect. So now they're just going to kite him out like crazy, and they're just going to slowly win this team fight through kiting. Now they are looking to keep going. Ziggs can keep throwing bombs, but Ziggs is very, very low on mana to the point that he can probably use maybe one more bomb, if that. So what they might look to do is just go and just instantly kill Icon. There we go, the CC chain. Again, showing why this Renekton is just a completely useless pick. So I feel like RNG are very, very controlled with their team fights. They know exactly what their comp is looking to do. There's a very kind of low variance play, which is really good to see. Because there's too many teams that just flip. Although I say that, but the first game, they just griefed. They went for a Baron that ended the game. But they're showing in this game now where their kind of teamfight power is very, very powerful. So they are going to tank the dragon for a bit now. They do have 3 members here. It's a 3v3. They have the 4th and 5th coming. So this is actually going to be a 5v5. Renekton's very slow. If they look to get a pick now, then that's the best. But Renekton's way too slow, so they're just going to get the dragon. Probably Tarzan's calling to back away from the dragon. They get mid tier 1. Doesn't really matter too much though. Tier 1 is going to, you know, go down. They do have a Ziggs. It's not the end of the world. They do have... a slight tower advantage right now, but overall I think RNG have quite an advantage. The Soul is actually Mountain as well, so it's a really good role for both teams since Mountain is so broken. 6% resistances in armor and magic resist from just one dragon is completely insane and shouldn't be allowed in the game, but 3 of them is even more crazy. 18% magic and armor, magic resistance and armor just for the sake of it. So here we can see again the Q into the ult, the Q into the ward hop ult. Wei tries to go in, but he does get exhausted, and Ale just doesn't take any real damage from the Syndra because of his ult. Wandy does get caught, but they do good to jump on him, and then the end of that fight, we just see it very, very controlled. And they did just go back to this. I don't know why they went back to this when it was literally just a case of Renekton getting one shot. Doesn't really make much sense, but... So, at this point, they're just going to get this tier 2. That's another 600 gold in their pocket. So, again, Icon on the Renekton, 0 and 6. So he is 6 of RNG's 9 kills. So they're really just punishing So they're just punishing them so hard in this game. Like I said, though, this is very good to see. So Varus is just going to instantly clear this wave out. He is lethality, so... So he can do a massive amount. He's got his Mana Moon now. I don't like that he finished his Mana Moon. I mean, obviously you want to get your Mana Spike earlier, but I really think he should have just itemized into his lethality items a little earlier. Even though Straight Dick is a massive power spike though, so I mean it's not bad. Like I would prefer him to get his lethality item, but it's still okay. It's going to allow him to stack it up a little bit faster, get to that 360, and then as soon as he gets that, that's such a huge power spike on lethality Varus because his poke is so potent. So we are looking for RNG to start pushing their lead now. Like even though they are down on kind of overall gold. Okay, so Ale gets completely pushed out by the set and then dies. So I mean he did kill Gala, but I really don't think that's worth it, especially because he had to use his flash for that. Now Wade did actually get caught in the jungle by Tarzan, but Ming is instantly there to protect him, and now Tarzan probably... Okay, I think Tarzan could have potentially died there, but... So this is one of the things I have seen about, I have noticed about RNG, especially in these games. They're playing very much around the fact that they don't want to lose any gold on the map whatsoever. So as soon as Wei gets caught in the jungle, Ming is instantly there to protect him and stop him from dying. And I think this goes to show very, very well, especially Ming has just saved Varus's life too. So we do see the replay here. So this is where the Jax I'm pretty sure he flashes over the Varus ult. So it's not warded. He goes in with his he sidesteps the Varus ult, sorry, and then flashes on top of him. He does get caught by Ming, but unfortunately Light with the Ziggs ult just manages to get him. And now we can see that Ale ends up dying straight from here. Ming ends up running into the topside jungle instantly and then saving Xin Zhao too. So again, at this point, LNG do have the gold advantage because they've got this extra tower. But RNG have a lot of damage. So Syndra has just finished their Seraphs. The Varus went with Eclipse. Now, I really don't like Eclipse because... I mean, it's not too terrible here, actually. I take that back. It's not too terrible here because they do have quite a lot of members that will stack armor. I mean, Jax will stack armor, Lee Sin will, Renekton will, and Trundle will as well. So, actually, I haven't seen Eclipse much, but I actually think it might be a really good pickup here. Especially if he goes Cyrilda's straight after too. If he goes Cyrilda's straight now, then it could actually be a really, really big buy. Because you'll get the armor pen from... and the Eclipse mythic bonus with the Cyrildas, and it's a really good combo. So let's see if he does it. Let's see. I think it can be viable when you're into a lot of kind of beefy champions like this, because you want those arrows to be doing as much damage as possible with everyone. Obviously you can do more damage with AP, but it's just really bad. So Gala's actually playing well, even though he is 3 deaths. Those 3 deaths, they committed a massive amount for him. And he just kind of only just died in every single situation. So I do feel like Tarzan gets very tunnel vision sometimes. Okay, so they're starting to fight now. Tarzan actually manages to get a Ming, but he does cancel him instantly. He manages to use his W for that big shield. He gets another Q though. Ults him away, but Ming gets out. That's so lucky for him. Ale manages to get the Varus though, but they're going to keep trying to play this fight very slow, especially because Xin Zhao has his Gold Drinker, which he just used. Now they're going to look to keep going. Unfortunately, Ziggs ult does get him. It was a little bit grief after a while. Like, it somewhat feels like RNG, like they take a fight and then they won't stop fighting until it's over. was a bad pink ward because they instantly just walk up and they had a ward just over that little crevice. So that was just a bad ward in general. So Crying getting poked out by the Ziggs bombs, and Ale actually comes in. So Ale's actually having a much better game here on the Jax. So to be honest, like maybe if they just stop picking him grief picks, like the Viego isn't grief, but if they stop taking him the Renekton, I think maybe Ale can perform. But they do keep taking him the Renekton, because on this Jax, he's actually doing very well. Especially considering he's just hit his 2 item spike too. But are we going to see Xin Zhao go for the... Okay, so Xin Zhao is trying to fight 3 levels up Jax. So this is really bad. So Jax could potentially just go nuts here. Okay, and he manages to get out as well. And a nice sidestep from the Varus Q. Okay, so Tarzan going a little bit kill hungry, but he managed to get another Q. The Set does stop it with the E, so like we previously mentioned, Set did actually just stop Lee Sin getting that kill there, but the Ziggs just picks it up and cleans it up. Okay, so that was a very, very bad fight from RNG again, and it feels like they're keeping to... They just keep fighting. So, I am impressed with how LNG has been finding picks though. So they're going to get some bases off now. So the only thing, the good thing for RNG here is if they do actually manage to win any of these fights, the amount of shutdowns they're going to get is huge. So here we see the Set manages to get his E to block the Lee Sin. He doesn't have it up to get him again, but Lee Sin kicks him away, doesn't really understand his damage, and then he manages to get out. So this is pretty important, so here he should have just left. So instead of leaving, he uses Time Warp Tonic, and then he tries to come back into the fight, because Wei decides to just fight again, for no real reason. Like, I'm not sure who the comms are down to, but the fact that they just keep trying to fight is really bad. Like, it's very, very grief. So Ale's actually had some great performances, but against SPX he looked terrible. So Icon's gonna get chased down. He is 0-7 right now, so I feel like it's kind of like Xiaohu like chasing down like a stray dog or something, because like it just seems like it's nowhere near. He is gonna reset so that he can help defend the base zone, since Renekton isn't really a priority, but Renekton's just way too behind. So LNG actually looking like they might take this game. Like, Xiaohu gets picked here. Gala is going to get caught too, and this is the game. Ale actually played very, very well here. Like, the fact that they picked Renekton again and it inted is unreal. But, LNG 2-0 up, so... Let's see what happens. So, I mean, this is a pretty good game, though. I mean, LNG performing really, really well. Like, they actually give Ale a counter pick, and this is what happens. So, you know, maybe Ale is actually pretty good, but they're just completely griefing him over and over. So, we'll end the YouTube video there.